So how are you guys doing tonight? Doing good. Sorry about all the technical difficulties trying to get things set up. We'll do better next time. We'll try to get this ironed out. So y'all are here to learn a little bit about what's going on with Mobilegeddon and how that might impact your websites and your business. Quick show of hands. Anybody done a lot of work on updating their website to be mobile friendly since hearing about Mobilegeddon? One, two, three, maybe four-ish. What about before Mobilegeddon? Before you ever even heard about it, it was already a priority. One, two, three, four, five. All right. So looks like at least two or three of the folks were actually inspired to make that a priority since hearing about Mobilegeddon. Maybe 30%-ish uptake in people making mobile friendly priority. This will become more relevant as we get through the presentation here. Mobilegeddon, the beginning of the end. April 21st, 2015 is when that update was rolled out by Google. And as of earlier today, I did a quick search for news results relevant to Mobilegeddon. Just using that one keyword, there are 25,600 news results. So it seems like it's a popular topic. There's a few folks that are interested in this. Part of the reason for that is probably because Google's own staff have been talking about how much of an impact this is going to have. Back in March, it said that this was going to be a larger impact than Panda and Penguin had. Also, Google's own data, their internal data, shows that greater than 50% of their search queries are actually coming from mobile devices. One pattern that marketers are seeing is that a lot of people initiate a search finding information or products and services via mobile, and then oftentimes they will complete the purchase on a desktop device. That also seems to be shifting, but currently that seems to be what a lot of folks are noticing for the pattern. Back in April, there were articles pointing out that even 10% of the world's most visited websites were not ready for this mobile update. Some of the big ones that to take note of are Wikipedia, Reddit, BBC, and Moz. This is just 2 days before, or excuse me, 2 days after the update rolled out. Even Fortune 500 companies were not ready. As of 9 days before the Mobilegeddon update rolled out, 44% of Fortune 500 websites failed the test, and another 4% didn't even produce a response. I posted the slides up on SlideShare, and I've got a link at the end. If you want to be able to dig into any of these articles, all of the links are in there as well, so you can get a lot more depth with any sections that you find interesting. So it seems during the first week, not much changed. Several news outlets were reporting that there wasn't much of a shift in search results, and that Mobilegeddon wasn't really all that it was cracked up to be. One of the reasons for this, according to folks from within Google, is that indexing takes time. Just because the algorithm is rolled out doesn't mean that all of the sites have been indexed and the new search result scores have been applied. Additionally, a lot of sites, our own little sample in here suggests somewhere around 30%, actually took an initiative to try to make their sites more mobile friendly once they heard about this, causing re-indexing to have to occur. However, in some cases, Mobilegeddon backfired, and some of the sites that went and made their pages more mobile friendly actually saw a drop in their search results rankings. One little research study suggests 2%, and another one suggests that 27% of total respondents reported a negative impact on their sites. It's important to point out that with both of those studies, they were careful to say that there was no statistical significance in either of these studies. Their population sizes weren't large enough to draw any real definite answers. This is just preliminary information, but it's still kind of interesting that in some cases, Mobilegeddon had a negative impact on sites that attempted to become more mobile friendly. Also, there have been 2 more updates that have actually had more of an impact in search results than Mobilegeddon since Mobilegeddon rolled out. Google is constantly updating the algorithm, and I don't recall the exact number, but it's pretty easy to Google it and find it. There's a phenomenal number of updates, averages out to somewhere around 1 a day, that Google is just making a little tweak, a little change here and there, and seeing how things work out. 2 of the ones that have had a bigger impact is rising local search results. So more local search results have shown up in the top 10 listings, search results page. And also quality signals, social signals, links from Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all the various social media channels seem to be having a positive impact on your search results, a lot more so than the negative impact that Mobilegeddon may be having on your site. This leads me to what exactly is Mobilegeddon doing for sites? How is it benefiting some sites? How is it harming others? What is the impact that Mobilegeddon is having? And that impact seems to be most obvious in mobile versus desktop search engine results pages. So sites that are mobile friendly tend to be moving up the search result rankings on mobile searches, and those that are not mobile friendly or that are tend to be staying at about the same space on desktop search results. So if your target audience is searching for your products and services on mobile, you may see an impact in your search results there. But if most of the people coming to your site are doing so through a desktop, you're probably not seeing any impact in that area. And even on mobile, it's still relatively minimal. So the beginning of Mobilegeddon, rather than looking at Mobilegeddon as a single event like Penguin and Panda were, where one day your business is doing great, the next day all of your customers are gone and there's no money to pay anybody, and mass firings and everything. It's not an hysterical Armageddon type of a situation. Instead, this is a gradual process that's being rolled out over a period of time that's going to shift results towards more mobile-friendly sites. 2 quotes pulled out of this article here, that the mobile rankings have never been more different from desktop rankings. So if you throw the exact same keywords into your cell phone and into your desktop computer, the results that you get are significantly different on those 2 devices. And they've never been more different. Additionally, the differences between those results are becoming greater. So as more and more people are using their smartphones and tablets and other secondary screens to do their original searching, that can be very important to your business. If people are genuinely searching for information on their phones and tablets and then making a purchase on a desktop, if they're finding the results that they want on their phone and then emailing themselves a link to make a purchase later, they're never going to see your result if you're not mobile friendly and you're only showing up in the desktop results. If they start on a cell phone and then move to a desktop and continue searching, they may be surprised to find other results there. In the end, with this, it comes down to testing. You want to test, see where your audience is, where your market is. If you find that you're losing sales and this seems to be a reason why, then focusing on creating a mobile friendly design might help you to get those customers back. So you may be asking, if there's not much of an impact in search results, and there's all kinds of research that people have done, news articles that have come out showing that the impact is minimal at best, why did Google even do this? There's a whole article about that too that gets into a lot of details. I summarized it into 3 bullet points for you. Mobile users see ads and not apps. So Google has a vested interest in getting people to not use native apps and instead search for things on the Google search engine. As an example, instead of pulling up Amazon's app and finding what it is that you want to buy, it's better for Google if you type in the name of the thing that you're looking for and look through all the ads that they have for those types of things. Another possibility is that the algorithm may have tested poorly. Perhaps they had a whole bunch of fanfare, they rolled it out, they realized, oh wait, 10% of these really big websites that people want to be able to see are actually going to be buried if this algorithm is rolled in there. And that's not a good thing. People are not going to have a good experience on Google if the content they're looking for gets buried just because it's not mobile friendly. And without saying very much else about it, they just kind of backed away from it and said, we're moving on, and kind of ignored it. That's another possibility. The thing that's important to note, though, is that the mobile web is here to stay. So if you have invested time and energy in creating a mobile-friendly website, that's not a bad thing. That can only help you and not hurt you. So again, from within Google themselves, Matt Hoff points out that their algorithm takes in 200-ish ranking factors, and mobile friendliness is just one of those many ranking factors. So if you've got 199 other things going right for your site, and the one thing that you have wrong is you're not mobile friendly, you're still going to rank really well. If you have 199 things going against you, and one more of them is that you're not mobile friendly, you weren't ranking in the first place. So as you're building your strategy, mobile friendliness is something to consider, but it is not an end all be all. It's not going to make or break your business one way or the other as far as search results pages are concerned. Some key tips for when you are working on creating a more mobile friendly design. And this could be part of the reason why some of those sites may actually see themselves being negatively impacted. They may have what the algorithm defines as mobile friendly, but when it's actually displayed on the page, it's not working out quite right. Not knowing exactly what all those sites are. It's difficult to say exactly what their issue is. But you want to look at user-friendly design. You've got to kind of put yourself into your user's shoes, sitting at their phone or standing at their phone or wherever they happen to be with their phone. They've got anywhere from a 3 to, I don't think there's a 7-inch screen yet, is there? 6 inches about the top end for a phone, something like that. A wide range of screen sizes, or they're sitting in front of a tablet, something around 10 or 12-inch tablet screen. And each of those screen sizes has its own complications with trying to click on menu items. We've all had that issue where there's too many different options stacked on top of each other, and you have to zoom in 5 or 6 times so you can get right on the one that you're wanting. That's a bad user experience, and people that run into that will bounce off of that site, go find your competitor, and find something easy to be able to get what they need. Create a better interface. This kind of, in a lot of ways, these 3 kind of are really the same one, but the tap area and space between the links, really looking at how much space you have between them and how they're laid out on the page. And then also the forms and search boxes that people are going to type in on your site, how easy it is for them to be able to access those. A common thing that I run into, and I'm sure you guys do too, you're trying to search for something on a mobile device and you go to click on the search box and the search button is so close to the box that you end up searching for a blank query, and that's not what you wanted. And after 3 or 4 times of doing that, you just throw the device down and go back to your computer. Uh, so you want to try to avoid stressing out your visitors as much as possible. A couple of ways to try to figure out how your site is doing. You can test your site. Again, I have the slides on a link so that you have access to all these links real easy. On the screen, it was like 3 lines long, so I didn't want to write it all out. You can click that link and test it. It's a tool provided by Google to help you figure out what needs to be fixed on your site. Very similar to the tools that are provided to help you figure out why your site might be loading slow and what it is you can do to fix that. Similar kind of tool, but for mobile friendliness. There's also a guide to help you understand why mobile friendly design is important and give you some of the basics. If you're a developer or designer, you probably already understand those basics. If you're running your own business website, or if you're a developer or designer trying to explain to a business owner what elements of design would be important for mobile friendliness, this is a really great introductory explanation, also provided by Google. You'll probably want to check out that link as well and dig into it a little bit. And that's what I've got for you. So I was thinking we could open this up for some discussion, a little Q&A, and see what people have run into for Mobilegeddon. Oh, yes, sorry. The link right there, frankcjones.com/Mobilegeddon. And the @ symbol, that's my Twitter handle, and my website at the top.
How would you advise I'm working with a company that's a business-to-business e-commerce. It's very specified product. It's not something that the consumer can buy. People buy this product when they're sitting in their office for their business, for their manufacturing. So now, after hearing this, I'm not as worked up about the need to do a mobile website, because I can tell you that this customer doesn't ever look on their phone or their mobile device to understand what the product is. They're sitting in an office, they're using a desktop. Should I even worry about this? Because it's a cost consideration here.
Yeah. Right? I don't know the product, but I do know that a significant number of businesses are moving to a mobile workforce. So while traditionally people may be sitting in an office working when they're looking at this product, the shift in the workforce may actually mean that they're sitting in an airport with their cell phone, or they've got their tablet at a coffee shop, and they're working from there. If that also doesn't apply, then the next thing that I would point out is to do some testing. See what kind of browsers people are using when they're coming to the site. If you genuinely have only desktop users coming to the site, the Mobilegeddon algorithm update does not suggest that you should invest the time and money into changing the site. However, if you are already going to be doing a site redesign, it is a best practice to go ahead and make it a responsive design, so that way it is by default mobile friendly as well.
So the thing that concerns, I want to pick it up on you.
Yeah.
One more question. So the thing that concerns me is there's hundreds of pages associated with all the brand new product, and I wouldn't mind seeing the company do a very basic portion of that mobile. It's more informational. But when you start to get to all the transaction pages,
Yeah,
that's going to add up to a lot of.
that's actually a great way to approach it. If you do a small portion of the site and make it mobile friendly,
Yeah.
you can then also collect data about how many people are visiting it using a mobile browser, and where it is that they're going on that site, and where it is that you're losing them. So if they're going through the site page to page, reading about the product, they're getting really excited about it, they get to a page to where they can actually make a purchase, but the shopping cart is broken on mobile devices and that's where they bounce off. Now you can make a case for why you want to revamp that shopping cart because it's costing you X number of customers per month. If that number is 1, it's probably not worth it. If that number is 1,000, maybe it is. I don't know.
Right. That makes sense. Thank you.
Anything else? Yeah.
Is it possible if you've got a personal site or a desktop, is it possible to create a page that is an entry page specifically for somebody on a mobile device?
So if I've got your question right, you want to have somebody come to your site, and when they arrive at the site, it automatically recognizes whether they're coming from a desktop or a smartphone, and presents them with a different home page depending on which device they're on.
Maybe real stripped down, maybe the most popular items that they can order.
Okay. There are ways to identify what type of browser somebody's using or what have you, and segment the audience based on that and show them a completely different page or a completely different site based on that. It depends on your content management system as to whether you would want to create a completely separate site, or if you would just have some code in place that'll rearrange where the elements are located on the page, which is where responsive design comes in. And responsive design is mostly not based on the type of device, but the resolution of the screen that's being used. So that way it doesn't have to know all of the different device types. It just knows if the screen is this wide, we're going to lay it out this way. If the screen is this wide, then we're going to rearrange things in this way. Does that make sense? Yeah. I got 3 hands.
Any comments on the experience using LinkedIn, both desktop and mobile? At least for me, I don't know if they're going through some sort of long story short, sometimes it loads, sometimes it doesn't, and I see that both on desktop and mobile. I don't know if that's something
Like the navigation on mobile?
I don't use LinkedIn on mobile very much, and only rarely on desktop anyway. Anybody else have a run-in with that?
The navigation of the mobile. Actually, I'll force myself to go to the full site on mobile.
Yeah.
and it's also slow. Even on desktop, it's like slow load.
With as old as the design looks on LinkedIn on a desktop, I can imagine how bad it is on mobile. Yeah, that site's probably due for a redesign. Yeah. Yeah, that site's ripe for a redesign, but it's running into the same problem as you're pointing out. It's a massive site. I'm sure that's a significant cost, and I imagine that they're trying to get every last day they can out of the design they have before investing a significant sum of money. We'll work our way kind of this way because you had one and then you had one, and then we'll come back and see who's got questions.
Are there any drawback? Go to the mobile friendly. Does it have any negative effects on somebody that's searching information?
Creating a mobile friendly site does not harm somebody that's looking at the site on a desktop. A couple of the news articles that I pointed out did show that some sites that did mobile friendly updates to their site experienced a decrease in their rankings on the search results page. However, it wasn't statistically significant, so it's not suggesting that all sites are going to see some sort of reduction, but there are a few out there. And without getting into each one of their individual case details, they could have done any number of things wrong when they did the update that caused them to have a minor reduction in search results. So I can't definitively say that there is a negative impact. I can say that if you create one site that's responsive and looks good on a cell phone and a tablet and a desktop, and you create another site that looks good on a desktop but doesn't work very well on a cell phone or a tablet, on the desktop, the user experience will be the same, so it's not going to negatively impact those users. Does that make sense?
All right, so
was really excited about this whole everything's going mobile thing.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it from a user standpoint. And so me as a user, I was thinking, man, a couple of phones ago, I would have really appreciated more mobile websites. And now my phone is smart enough, they can process full-fledged websites and all that. And I've gotten to the point now where I, as a user, prefer a full website on most things. Wikipedia, I love their mobile site. I love Facebook's mobile site. I'd rather have that over the desktop. But whenever I go to these other websites, like restaurants, whatever, and they have some mobile version, I hate it. So I'm thinking, I understand Google's, pushing it, but how are we going to get better mobile websites so where the user is getting a good user experience kind of throughout, and then he appreciates it? Because I don't right now.
Well, what you're actually seeing on like Wikipedia is a responsive design. So harkening back to your question, the first way that people dealt with mobile friendly designs was to figure out what browser they were running. And if it wasn't one of the main browsers that's being run on a desktop computer, they just presumed that it was one of the many browsers that's used on a smartphone. And they gave you a completely different website where everything was laid out in a supposedly mobile friendly way. The old restaurants that you're looking at that have those mobile sites, that's an example of that old style of design. The way that it's done now is when the website recognizes that you're using a smaller screen, when you're looking at Wikipedia, for example, it nests the menus into different areas and moves the buttons around a little bit and adjusts how the page is laid out. And then also, I know from looking at Wikipedia on my phone, it only has the first section opened, and then you have each of the little subheaders where you can click on it and open it, and it'll expand the text further. And then you can close that one up and expand the next one, instead of having this never-ending scroll that would exist on some longer articles.
Is that mostly for navigation, or is it also factor in load time?
That's a little bit for load time. It's for ease of use, for user experience. Load time is actually part of user experience, so it's mostly for the user experience on mobile devices. So that way it'll show up on your screen quickly and efficiently, and you can navigate that page and find what it is that you're looking for. And by using a responsive design, the code itself automatically adjusts how it's displayed on that screen based on the size. So those sites that were looking at mobile friendliness, my timeline may be a little bit off, but somewhere in the neighborhood of, I want to say 4-ish years ago, would have probably done something along the lines of a completely separate mobile site. Or if they're on Word, install a plugin that then gives you a completely separate site for mobile. And today, if you're doing that, you're going to go with a theme on WordPress that is responsive, that rearranges how things are set up, or you're going to design that, hard code that into your site so it's responsive using CSS and HTML. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just don't like it.
Yeah. So essentially, more of the site should be moving towards what you said you liked on Wikipedia, as they move towards the newer, more modern design standards, and away from what you said you didn't like with the restaurants, where it's actually a separate website. That should not be happening anymore, as people hire modern design firms to fix that.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, so the ultimate problem was that a minimal amount of information, thinking, all right, now it's load the big buttons, all right? And then I would always look for the desktop view button.
Yeah.
So anyway, now it's responsive. I still even like the layout. It seems like so many websites are not getting like the information I want. It's random, but I always have to end up scrolling, and then the one thing I'm looking for is somewhere way at the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's just my experience over and over on mobile.
With responsive design still being relatively new, there are a lot of folks that are running tests, and they watch user performance on their sites. And actually, as you're scrolling, there's a computer watching in the background, tallying like how far you scroll, where does it you go. Depending on what site you're on, they may actually be wanting you to scroll, so you spend more time on the site, which sends signals to Google that they may be a good, valid site. Yeah. So it depends on what angles they're trying to work. If they're genuinely looking out for your best interests, they're going to notice that all of their users tend to scroll to the bottom and click on this, and so they're going to redo their design to move that element to the top. If they're going after search engine results and they want to get more traffic to their site from the search engines, they might actually keep it at the bottom so that you spend a little bit more time on the page and they move up the search page. So.
I mean, typical information I'm looking for is if you all get by to the phone number or they're like hours of operation, something like that.
Yeah.
And I know on typical websites that top right.
We'll see with the phone number and the hours of operation. A lot of times, help me out here, I'm forgetting the name of it, where Google pulls that information, not the info box. Trapagan just came and spoke to us about it. Yeah, the knowledge graph and the direct answers. Yeah. With direct answers in the knowledge graph and such, when you type in, I don't know, Pizza Hut into your phone, you're going to get at the top of the search results the Pizza Huts that are in the area, and you're going to get their addresses and phone numbers right there. So you don't have to go to their website and scroll anywhere on it. So that's another angle. If that's the type of information you're looking for, the search engines and Google are working on pulling that information off of the site entirely and putting it right into the search results. So that way you don't even have to go to the site to find it.
In that case, it's the designer's choice. So you're like, three things people know are the phone number, the address, and the hours. That should probably be top three, but that's also going to annoy some people. Some people may not want to see the hours, they may not want to see the product being offered. So there's always a balance there.
And you also have to think about if it is a retail store or a restaurant or whatever, and you're looking for those three things, that takes up valuable real estate at the top of every page. And if they have it on every single page at the top there, then after you've looked at 2 or 3 pages on their site, you don't need their phone number and their address and everything anymore right in front of you. It might be better to move that to the bottom. So there's a lot of design challenges there. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it can be moved over there as well. All right. Any other questions? Ideas that we should talk about? I don't have to be the only one answering questions.
I'll just keep talking. So again, about my user experience, I'm on the phone like all the time. I was trying to figure out why you're talking about it. But when I search for things, like I'm gonna go to and search for the apps. I'm using my personal apps for that. Is there any?
I presume that when you see a map and you see a couple of push pins on there, you know where you are relative to those push pins.
You're talking about on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are folks that I know that their geospatial reasoning doesn't work that way. They can see the blue dot, they can see the little red pins. They don't understand how to get from point A to point B, and so searching on the map doesn't really help. They still do the search on Google directly, and then rely on Google to tell them push number 1 is the closest to. Rather than looking at pins on a map and going, which one do I want to go to?
So I'm using the interactive Google Maps app. Trying to go to Olive Garden, right? And what's Olive Garden? Olive Garden, Google Maps, search for it. If I don't know where to go, I just hit the get me there button.
Yeah.
So I spend a fair amount of time on Google Maps. So I'm wondering if other people do, and if they do, is there something else we can do from a mobile standpoint to increase our view on Google Maps?
Yeah, you're wanting to do local search, and you're wanting to make sure that I know that Google doesn't necessarily require anymore the schema.org markups, but it's still a good idea. You can put the meta tags in place to let search engines know this is an address, this is a phone number, And as the search engines are crawling your page, they'll really pull that information out and show up in the map results and such. And you can find all those meta tags over at schema.org. The best way to just get on a local search, if you're just looking to get into the map, that's where I would start, is having it marked up. And then after that, go to the top, what's the category I'm looking for? Social search sites like Yelp and, Yelp and those sites, local citations, yeah. Go to those and submit your profile information there, and make sure that the most popular ones are updated. They all draw from each other. So one of the tricks with that is, and you can find the list, I don't know off the top of my head, but like the top 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever sites like Yelp that are the most popular. And then just go through those and make sure that all your information is updated there. And I always recommend for small businesses that are managing their own local SEO, if they just take a couple of them a week and update, they can get through the list in just a few weeks. And by the time they get towards the end of the list, they'll probably find that a lot of them have already drawn the data out of the other ones that they already updated. And then by the time you make it to the end of that list, you'll probably be in Google Maps and doing pretty well on local search. Yeah, that's one of the ones on the list. There would be like the Google Places and such.
Your brand new business would probably have to So I have another question, if nobody else wants to vote.
Yeah.
Please.
Looks like you got all the good ones today.
All right, so one of the places I work with, they keep getting pushed down on people saying, I got to call them or whatever, revalidate, and they're like, okay. And it's happened 2 or 3 times in the past 2 years. All of a sudden, it's just
Okay.
the idea is, I hate to, get everybody off track, no problem about it.
Yeah.
It's in someone's house.
Nah, it's an actual restaurant.
Okay.
When they get closed like that, it's because someone's flagging that business is closed. So typically the case is it's someone's house or like the PO box, or not really PO box anymore. Sometimes virtual offices get closed. But somewhat it could be competitors are flagging from a bunch of different IPs, just saying this place is closed.
Could be.
Then you make some enemies.
How does the close process work? Because I know of somebody else that was getting the business flagged, and when they were trying to confirm that they were the business, they would have them have Google call so you can get the code and all that kind of fun stuff. And the owner of the business, let's say he wasn't tech savvy, we'll go with that, and he would answer the phone. And when he heard that it was Google calling, he would yell all kinds of obscenities at the person on the other end, saying that they weren't going to trick him into some kind of a scam, and would hang up on them. And after about 3 or 4 times of doing this, the person that was setting up the site said, "Let me just take the phone. I'm going to have to hold this for a few minutes," and took the phone from the owner. Do you know if they call to confirm if the business is closed, or do they just turn it off and say that it's closed? Okay.
Well, we've gotten calls from one, we're Google representatives.
Yeah.
And then we've also got a call from, and I was contacting to be a Google representative. It was like, hey, I'm calling from Google. We're just calling to make sure you're open. I was like, yeah, we're open. All right, thank you. Do that, and then I was.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, is that maybe they were doing something like that, and the owner is just hanging up on them instead of saying, yes, we're open.
At night. So I think they were calling and I was answering
Yeah.
But I mean, apparently they had a call because I answered the phone and some dude claimed he was Google. I work with Google. I was like,
See, I've usually gotten the calls, but it's like somebody that tells me your government is mailing you a check, and I ask them which government is mine, and they don't have a good answer. Uh, so that one didn't even sound like it was a scam. They just asked if you were open, and that was the end of the conversation. Yeah.
I mean, I've contacted Google several times about it, and they call back, or my number, they call me back. All right, we're just trying to change the next. I mean, that's just the process for getting it, put back open.
Yeah, maybe lodge a complaint with Google. Maybe they can start tracking the IP addresses that all those flags are coming from and find a pattern. Kick them off the system or whatever. Blacklist them.
You can have a Google photographer come in your store and shoot your store. And if you go through that process, they will tell you if they are truly the first time Google photographer. They will tie you into Google Plus.
Well, it's also, so I got Google Places account and all that, and they deleted it several times as well. I had to revalidate, re-verify. And, I mean, I've got probably 3 or 4 different accounts where I had validated it. Here's my Google Business page, and then they're like, now I gotta upload it. And now I have to do the process again, I have to create like an entirely new business page. And I got like 3 or 4 that are said they were verified. At one point were, and now they're not. And then I got, it's just pretty messy. Sorry, I bring it up on the topic.
Yeah. Might try the photographer route.
I know, I love that idea, actually.
I do know that I looked at.
with maps, so maybe you can work on maps with your maps. Those photographers can open the door.
They got the virtual tours and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll see if they'll close right into the but once they tied you in, you also notice that if you have 5 or 6 listings for other businesses that Google business, Google local, probably not if the other ones